All right, so one thing we're about to do is we're going to be talking about a concept, and you're going to be reading about a concept. So it's time to start to kind of get this course under going. So one thing I want us to first understand before we get to that is that we have a cause and effect that we must need to understand. We're talking about colonization. We talked about Christopher Columbus arriving, and then once Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas, European countries, the French, the Spanish, the English started to come and establish and live in the new world. That is what we identify as colonization. Okay. So colonists established new places to live and began to challenge England as the rightful rulers. Okay. So we're colonizing, we're establishing self governments, and we are turning, we're now a new culture is developing. Okay. Now, what this directly leads to is over 100 150 years, a couple hundred years, colonists began to establish their own ideology, the own way they have ideas about stuff, and they start saying, man, we really should be separate from the people who are ruling us. And again, England is where we're focusing on. This transition occurs because of an event called the French and Indian War. That directly sets us the foundation for the Revolutionary period, us getting into the Revolutionary War, us having a revolution and overthrowing the government of England and establishing our own country. This is where colonists fought and won their independence and struggled to find a government which works for them. So colonies establishing, developing, growing, creating. We've now been created. Now we want to live on our own. Okay. So colonization is I'm a baby. I'm born. By the time I get a teenager, I want to rebel and I want to go live off in my own house, live in my own rules. Okay. And so that's the revolutionary period. So understanding cause and effect, and as we jump back and forth talking about both, is a key component of understanding where we're going. Now, this leads us into our American Revolutionary assignment. This will be a quiz grade as well as a assignment grade. What you're going to have is you're going to have a reading packet, which is called the American Revolution. And so what you're going to do is you're going to use the following information to create a quiz that consists of 25 questions. Now, all 25 questions must be multiple choice. As should we say multiple, not multiply. That's A, B, C, and D. Okay, and you have to provide an answer key, meaning like question 1, it's A, question 2, B. You don't have to write out the whole answer, it just has to be the letter. Now, when you're creating this quiz, you have to have 5 prompts. Okay, so you have to have 5 prompts. Now, Coach Coffee, what in the world do you mean? How do I read something and take it into a question? So here's an example. All right, we're just going to look at this. We're going to look at this real quick. All right. So let's see, we had this reading passage right here. The land gained from the Treaty of Paris of 1763 was a major victory for Britain and the colonies. However, the Native Americans living in the newly acquired territory did not like their new neighbors. For example, a group of Native Americans in 1763 attempted to drive the British and American colonial families out of Ohio Valley in what is known as Pontiac's Rebellion. Thousands of British Americans were killed, as well as hundreds of British troops. To prevent further fighting with Native Americans, the British issued the Proclamation of 1763. The proclamation stated that the colonists could not settle any territory beyond the Appalachian Mountains. However, the colonists continued to move west onto Native American lands. Because the Proclamation of 1763 sought to halt expansion, it convinced colonists that the British government did not care about their needs. So now I read that and I just need to turn it into a regular multiple choice question, right? So that's the game plan. Okay. This was passed to prevent further fighting with Native Americans and the colonists after the French and Indian War. All right. Which one was it? It was C, the Proclamation of 1763, because that's what we just read. Very simple. In the reading, we turned it into a multiple choice question. Now, we have the same thing, but now we have to turn it into a prompt. A prompt is a picture, an image, something I use, I have to look at to answer the question. So for example, all right, I have an outline. So which best complete the outline above? I have the major point, and then it says major victory for Britain in the colonies. Led to Pontiac's Rebellion. Reasons why the Proclamation of 1763 was issued. Okay? And then, of course, of those things that I read about, the only answer I even noticed is land gained from the French and Indian War. That would be a prompt I would have to use to answer this question. All right, now, here's another example. Okay, so I read about Pontiac's Rebellion. So what I did is I wanted to Google search a map of Pontiac's Rebellion. So I found a map. Here is a prompt. What occurred as a direct result of what is being portrayed in the map? I'm looking at the map. What occurred as a result of Pontiac's Rebellion? So I have to see Pontiac's War. I'm seeing War of this fault. Well, I know Pontiac's Rebellion, using my prior knowledge and then looking at this map, it was the Proclamation of 1763. So if I did not have that map, I would not be able to get the answer to the question. That is a prompt question, guys. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that I explained that. If you have any questions, always remember you can ask me through Google Classroom.